YouTube, Gabe from the Scrub Academy here. I'm here to do a deck profile, well awaited, the Krawler deck profile on my end. Mostly complete with all of my meta text, so this is the kind of stuff I play whenever I'm feeling like winning stuff without actually doing good. I like to feel good playing bad decks, and that's really all the Scrub Academy is about, so let's get into it. It's Crawlers today, so we'll start out with the Krawler core. We got 3 Krawler Glial. Honestly, the best card in the deck. You're not going to see much better use out of the Krawler cards than Krawler Glial. It specials Crawlers from hand or grave. It's immune to the Called by the Graves because it doesn't target. And you can special from hand too. It'll special in face down defense or face up attack. So you can choose between the two, and it helps you either continue into some link plays, or alternatively, you'll see a lot more of it getting you the crawlers you need face down to continue beating out your opponent. It's a lot more control for this deck than anything else, so you'll see a lot of that in the theme of the deck itself. So 3 Krawler Glial, and then 3 Searchers for Krawler Glial, 3 Receptor. Receptor is one of those unique cards that can actually search itself, and so that comes up a few times, but most of the time it's just searching out the Krawler Glials. It's going to be used mostly for continuing those kind of plays and getting off into some link summons as well. For the end of the Krawler monster lineup, it's 1 each of Ranvier, Spine, and Axon. These are the 3 useful crawlers. I don't play Dendrite because Dendrite, the pitch effect doesn't really come up in this deck too much, but Axon pops a spell or trap, Spine pops a monster, and then the Ranvier for recovery. That's going to get you 2 crawlers from grave. It's up to 2 as well, so if they get 1, you can still recover from grave. It helps with late game. Oftentimes you end up going into longer games, and you end up spending a lot of your resources, so you need to get them back. And going into the end of the monster lineup, we have the Morphing Jar. Obviously, you play flip effects in this deck, so the Morphing Jar comes up an insane amount. I have managed to resolve this 4 times in a game. It might as well just be an empty jar deck, because it can just keep getting this guy back face down and back up over and over again, essentially just running your opponent out of resources. Going into the control-ish element of the deck, we have 3 Card of Demise. Most of your hands are going to be use setting 5 and passing. The Demise helps extend that, going into some of the more useful traps in the deck, and it also gets out the one or two ofs like Morphing Jar, or things that you want to have set to the back row. In order to get those kind of extensions, you just want to see the Card of Demise to see your 2 ofs for the most part. Survivor follows the same logic. Survivor is Pot of Duality if Pot of Duality was better. Survivor's top 5 cards of the deck, it's going to get a Crawler or a World Legacy card and add it to the hand and then pitch the rest. As part of that, most of the control elements you see in this deck also have effects in the graveyard as well. The crawlers, that's why Glial is so important, because it's going to get those crawlers back that you sent to the grave, and then a lot of the other cards in the deck revolve around the graveyard as well. Continuing into spells, we have 2 Scapegoat. This deck puts in so much work with the Scapegoats. The Link monsters revolve around Earths, so the Earth tokens, 4 Earth tokens, really, you get into some of your better plays with the Scapegoat. You just end entire games just by playing a Scapegoat in the end phase, just because it'll extend so much of your gameplay. 2 Called by the Grave. This is going to stop any of the obnoxious effects. Honestly, whenever I play Demise, I always keep one in hand. Well, whenever I play Desires, I always keep one in hand just to prevent my opponent from ashing or drolling afterwards. Even it helps a lot with not getting stopped with your plays. If someone ashes the Desires or the Demise, it's going to end up causing a lot of gameplay issues when you have only 3 cards to continue stopping them. Book of Moon, I'd honestly replace this with a card later, but Book of Moon still is really good for the empty jar effect. It's going to keep recurring that effect over and over again, get you into some of your extensions. Continuing into the trap lineup, for the Crawler traps, we have World Legacy Pawns. This card is rather unique. It's a continuous trap that stays on the field, and once per turn, you can either Book of Tayo a card for free, so you can flip a face down, face up, or you can spin a Crawler from grave, likely one that you sent with Survivor, to put a face up, face down. And it's not Krawler specific either. So if you want to put a face up morphing jar face down, you can do that. And if you want to flip a face down card on your side of the field face up, you can do that as well. The last of the Krawler traps is the Mind Meld, 3 Mind Meld. I don't play Crusadia Krawler as much. I didn't see as much work out of it as I hoped, and honestly, a lot of the times I'd rather have control elements than, you know, the consistency that Crusadia Krawler brings. Mind Meld, though, honestly, an MVP card. It will change a monster's effect to bounce a face-up card you control, a face-up monster you control, and all the Krawlers have a subtext that allows you, when they leave the field because of opponent's card effect, be it getting sent back to the hand or going to the grave or banish zone, they're all going to special 2 from deck. So this will continue. Your plays without sacrificing a Krawler. So if you have a face-up Krawler on the field, you can get that bounced and special 2 from the deck. Usually, I like to special the control ones, where I'll flip a Glial with Pawn's effect, special 1 from grave, and then I'll use Mind Meld to bounce Glial. And then when Glial's bounced, you special Spine and Axon from the deck, or Spine and Ranvier. You know, whatever 2 of those 1-ofs you don't have yet. That's going to be it for the Krawler traps, or rather the World Legacy traps that work with those Krawlers. 2 Trap Trick. I'd played at 3. That's what I'd cut the Book of Moon if I could for, but I only have the 2 for now. But this card, as soon as I heard about it, the first thing I thought about was this deck, because you play so many normal traps because you're reaching into the deck for stuff that this will just end someone's entire career. Even the subtext that says you can only activate one trap for the rest of the turn. Just the fact that you can set any normal trap from your deck is insane for this deck. It's so crazy. But for the rest of the trap lineup, it's going to be either things that are used to stall out the opponent, or things that have effects in graveyard. To start, the Lost Winds. The Lost Wind wins me so many games on this one. Half attack and defense of a special summon monster and negate the effects. People rely way too much on those monster effects nowadays that stopping them essentially ends their game. The same goes for impermanence, where rather than have an effect where it can activate and grave, having it be a hand trap that is also a regular trap, pretty insane. That'll get you the time you need to stall out to get into your turn if you happen to go second. Going second really doesn't help this deck much, especially in an OTK format, but those will hopefully slow down the game. Canadia is the only Paleozoic I play. I started out playing Olenoids, but honestly, the best one in the deck is Canadia. I'd play Dynamiscus if I saw more of those cards in hand, but with the card of Demise, you're not going to see too much left in your hand after the first turn. But Canadia is going to slow down your opponents, and the same goes for the last trap in the deck, the compulsory evacuation device. A well-timed compulse will end almost anyone. You can pulse the summon Sork, you can pulse the Firewall. You're probably going to end the turn right there. That's why Trap Trick puts in so much work in this deck, is because you'll just essentially burn through the traps you have set, activate Trap Trick, get the well-timed trap that you need to end the turn for you, and once you continue into the rest of the turn, you're pretty much solid from there. And the point of the deck is just to stall out your first turn, and then go in the end of the second turn, you continue into your combos. Once you get through your combos, though, you can essentially OTK. You OTK so easily with the deck that it's insane. All right, so continuing on to the extra deck, we got 2 Link Spiders. Link Spiders are mostly here for the Scapegoats. Scapegoat combos into Link 4s. Same goes for Synathesis. Synathesis takes 2 Earths. For the most part, the Krawler effect doesn't come up, but they do have the added effect of specialing 2 when they leave the field by battle or card effect. And so whenever you get these on the field, it doesn't come up often, but you can special 2 from grave. I often end up suiciding either the Synathesis or the other Krawler Link monsters just to get the 2 from grave to get some control cards on field. But Synathesis for the Link 4 combos as well. The Neurogas and Qualiarch don't come up as much. Neurogas requires 2 insects, and Qualiarch requires 2 Krawler monsters. They're mostly used for the actual intention of Krawler monsters, which is to special 2 from grave, or alternatively to OTK with Krawlers. Most people play the game, the deck in an OTK fashion. The Quali Art gives Krawler monsters effects depending on the number of Krawlers on the field, and the Synapsis and Neurogas both give battle effects whenever they're whenever they're pointing to monsters. So they're strictly used for OTKs usually, but it doesn't come up too often. Other monsters include the Nightmare package, the Phoenix, Unicorn, and Cerberus. The Phoenix and Unicorn, well, the Phoenix and Cerberus come up the most, as you know, you go into your combos with Scapegoat. But the Unicorn does come up from time to time, so it's important to keep that around just for the control element. Subterra Behemoth Phoenix. Honestly, Phoenix is one of the more important extra deck monsters for this deck. Phoenix's effect, it requires 2 flip monsters, and in the extra monster zone, it does come in quite handy. It pitches a flip monster to special summon a flip monster to a zone being pointed to in face down defense. And the other effect, when a monster is flipped in a zone it points to, it searches a flip monster from the deck. So you can flip one of your previously set Krawler monsters to end up searching the Morphing Jar, and then pitch a Krawler from deck to set Morphing Jar to the field. Continuing off of that, usually you'll combo off into a Boral Guard Dragon. When this card came out, a lot of people gave it a whole bunch of crap for being terrible, but it does come in crazy good in this deck. Basically, it target one monster on the field, change it to face up defense. You can target your own cards, so a lot of times you end up empty jarring your opponent with that Morphing Jar that you had set from the Subterra Phoenix earlier. Alternatively, it can't be destroyed by card effects, so it helps to out some of those Thunder Dragon players. My last regionals, I played 4 Thunder Dragon players. 3 of them, I beat them just by putting the Boral Guard on the field, just because it can't be destroyed by card effects, and it is a big boy. He also flips the monsters and comes in super handy for this deck. Combos off into a lot of stuff if you have a Glial set as well. Glial will special summon the earlier used Synapsis to make it, and you can go into Boral Swords if you have enough monsters on board, or the Boral Load, the whole Boral package in the deck, just because the other 2 are too good not to play, honestly. Finishing off the extra deck, 2 Xyz monsters, Phantom Knight of the Cursed Javelin, and Paleozoic Anomacalaris. Honestly, for control elements, Anomacalaris is going to pop a monster once per turn during either player's turn, and is unaffected by monster effects. Cursed Javelin, target a monster on the field, negate its effects, and put its attack to 0. Honestly, helps a lot in time, especially if you're coming close. A lot of your games are going to go into time just because it's one of those stall-heavy decks. I've had tons of fun with the deck, honestly. It puts in a lot of work for me. I've gotten a bunch of wins off of it, but it's way too fun not to play, honestly. If you have the cards together, which if you're already playing meta, you might as well try playing it out. Honestly, the game lacks a lot of variety nowadays, so playing something like this and surprising your opponents with a couple flip monsters, too fun, honestly. I think the game sorely misses some of that variety, but other than that, we're pretty finished with the deck profile. I hope you all have a wonderful day.